Okay, this video is about trial and improvement but solving to 2 decimal places. This is the follow-up video to my first video where we looked at solving equations using trial and improvement to 1 decimal place, and where we couldn't use our balancing method that we use for linear equations or factorizing and solving quadratic equations. This method is for cubics or other types of equations where we can't use those methods. So this is straight into an example. And this is a typical GCSE question, and it says a solution to the equation x cubed plus 3x minus 16 equals 0 lies between 2.1 and 2.2. So they're giving us our starting values. Use the method of trial and improvement to find the solution correct to 2 decimal places. You must show all your work in. They always say that. Remember, we set up a table, and the first column is going to be for our x values. So I'm going to pop x in there. And the middle column is the equation we are trying to solve. And this is where we will substitute our x values and try our values to see if we can get 0 in this case. And this column is our comment column, our judgment column, whether our answer in there is too small or too big. So I'm just going to write TS or TB. Okay, so because they tell us the value the solution to the equation lies between 2.1 and 2.2. We start halfway. We don't need to start with those two because they've already told us it's between those two. So we start halfway. We start with 2.15. Remember, 2.1 and 2.2. If we've got a little number line here, if I put 2.1 there and 2.2 there, halfway would be 2.15. We go to 2 decimal places. So this is our starting value of x to 2 decimal places, and that's what they want us to solve it to. So I'm going to keep trying those until I got nothing left to try. So as before, we substitute, we write this in 2.15 cubed plus 3 brackets 2.15 minus 16 equals, now we need to put that on a calculator, so I can bring up my calculator, and we can see we have the calculator here. I'm just going to type that in exactly as I see it on paper. Bracket 2.15 close bracket cubed plus 3 brackets 2.15 close bracket, take away 16 equals, and then because we get a fraction we press the SD button and we get our decimal, and we get 0.3, so bring that back up again, 88375. 88375. Now really you only need the first 3 decimal places, but there was only 6, so I thought I'll write them all down. So we look at that and compare it to 0, and it's bigger than 0, so it's too big. So because our answer is too big, our value of x is too big, so we try a smaller value of x. So let's go with 2.14. That's the next value of x to 2 decimal places below 2.15. And we write it down, and don't scrimp on this, don't start taking shortcuts. By writing it all down, you can check what you put in your calculator is correct. Now because we've used brackets and typed it in the same way, we can just go back and delete our 5 and put 4, and again delete the 5 and put 4. So now we have 2.14 cubed plus 3 bracket 2.14 take away 16, and we get 0.220344. 0.220344. Again, it's too big. That is bigger than 0. We're getting closer though, so let's try 2.13. So we put that in, 2.13 cubed plus 3 bracket 2.13 minus 16. Okay, so we replaced x with the value we're trying for x. Again, back to the calculator, go back, change the 2.14 to 2.13. Okay, nearly there. Press equals 0.053597. 0.053597. Very close to 0, but still bigger than 0, so we still say too big. but we're getting very close now. I think we're almost there. Let's try 2.12. That's the next one down, because we've got to try a smaller value of x because our answer was too big. So 2.12 cube plus 3 brackets 2.12, take away 16 equals, almost there I think, change the 2.13 to 2.12. There we go, 2.12 equals, I've got a negative value now, so that's going to be less than 0. So I've got minus 0.111872. So we've got minus 0.111872. And that's too small because that's smaller than 0. As soon as you get a negative value, we know it's smaller, obviously, than 0. So now I know I found my answer, but I need to work out which is the right one. So my answer is either 2.13 or 2.12, because 2.13 was too big, 2.12 was too small. I've got nothing left to try now, have I, to 2 decimal places. There's nothing between these two to 2 decimal places. If I want to go between these two values, I now have to go to 3 decimal places. So I know I got to that point where I got 2 consecutive values of x, so one after the other, where one of them is too small, one of them is too big. So now, to decide on which is my best answer, we do go halfway. And halfway between 2.12 and 2.13 is 2.125. We just pop a 5 on the end of the smallest one. And we substitute that in. 2.125 cubed plus 3 bracket 2.125 minus 16 equals, bring the calculator back up. So all we need to do now is pop a 5 on the end of 2.12 in each bracket. Here we go, 2.125, press equals, and see what we get. Now I'm just going to do the first 4 decimal places. I'll do the first 5. Minus 0.02929. Minus 0.02929, and I'm going to put dot dot dot. I don't need the rest. All I'm interested in is it too small or too big? And of course it's too small because it's negative again. That is smaller than 0, so that value of x was too small. Now this is where we do a little number line, remember? And I'm just going to do a little line here using my ruler. At this end I'm going to write my smaller value to 2 decimal places that it could be, my 2.12, and at this end the bigger value, 2.13, to 2 decimal places, and in the middle my 2.125 that I tried just now. And underneath there I'm going to write what my judgment was. So 2.12 was too small, obviously, 2.13 was too big, and when I went in the middle, that came out as too small. And like I said in the last video, if you wanted to be really accurate and not just 2 decimal places and carried on forever, but we can't do that obviously, we've got things to do, then if this value 2.125 is too small and that's too big, 2.13, then the answer, if I carried on going to more decimal places, carried on doing 3 decimal places, would be in there, would be between the too small and too big there. So if my answer is in there, if I carried on forever, then the best answer to 2 decimal places is this one, because I've shaded this side. Okay, that is closer to what the actual answer would be, the more accurate answer would be if we carried on doing it to more decimal places. But the question only wants it to 2 decimal places, so my best answer is 2.13. And then you finish off by saying x equals 2.13 brackets 2 dp. There we have it. Okay, and that's how you solve an equation using trial and improvement and solving it to 2 decimal places. Okay, hope that helps. Thank you very much.